Heartwarming tale, abandoned girl discovers unexpected love as CEO vows to change her life forever. In the heart of a bustling urban neighborhood, Lily Thompson worked at Clara's diner, her laughter bubbling over the sounds of sizzling griddles and clinking coffee cups. At just 16, she squashed the heaviness of her circumstances, the scars of abandonment, the hollow ache of solitude with resilience. She wore her faded uniform like armor, maneuvering through each shift with a smile, stealing moments of joy from the clamor. The diner was home, the grease-stained floors and laughter of her coworkers formed a makeshift family. They were her shelter, the only ones who saw beyond her social status. One rainy Friday night, as the smell of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the soft glow of neon lights outside, everything changed. That was the night Ethan Wright walked into the diner, a high-powered CEO whose success glittered in the public eye but whom the shadows of his past relentlessly trailed. He was back in town to face demons he thought he had long outrun. The weight of old memories hung over him, shrouded in the guise of ambition. He had promised himself he'd never return, but here he was, searching for something he could hardly name. Their eyes met across the busy diner. For Lily, it felt like electricity coursed through her veins. Ethan saw her determination flicker like the neon sign outside. It sparked something he had long buried, the seeds of compassion. An undeniable connection formed in that chaotic moment, heavy with unspoken emotions. He found himself pulled towards her, as if she were a lifeline cast over turbulent waters, but life, with its bittersweet irony, was waiting around the corner. The charity event he attended, that fateful night he met Lily, was a stark reminder of the societal chasms that existed between them. As whispers swept through the crowd, criticizing her attire and her life choices, Lily felt her heart tighten. How could he possibly understand? She was just a waitress trapped in a world he had long left behind. When he offered to help her internships, mentorships, Lily felt her pride swell up fiercely. She wasn't a project, this wasn't about charity. She was determined to prove she could stand on her own. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the days stretched into weeks, tension brewed between them, thickening the air with misunderstandings. Each call turned into an anxious silence, pulled tighter by the invisible strings of pride and fear. Lily's heart ached at the thought of losing what she'd only just begun to hold, this beautiful connection. The community around them was not unaware. Their eyes flickered from Ethan to Lily, the murmurings of judgment swirling like autumn leaves caught in the wind. Each smile exchanged felt like a silent rebellion against the forces trying to pull them apart. Then came the confrontation fueled by hurt and fierce emotions. Would Lily let her pride win, or would she risk it all for a chance at love? Ethan stood at the crossroads of his past and future, wrestling with the parts of himself he had kept hidden from everyone and maybe even from himself. With a heart racing and trembling fingers, Lily knew she had a choice to make. It was a choice that could change everything. As she stood before the diner's warm glow, she felt the stirrings of hope and fear collide forcefully within her. Would they find the way forward together, or was this simply another fleeting moment of connection destined to fade away? Lily couldn't shake the unease that clung to her even as she served coffee and flipped burgers at Clara's. With every clatter of dishes, her mind raced back to Ethan's kind eyes, his gentle words echoing in her head. He had seen her, really seen her, but could he still see her now? The connection they had felt so electric, but every lingering doubt seemed to smother the warmth. Summer faded into autumn, and the diner was alive with the smells of pumpkin spice and the laughter of patrons seeking refuge from the chill. And yet, for Lily, the world felt cold and distant. The veneer of her brave face cracked a little more each day, especially with the shadow of Ethan's absence looming ever larger. He had stopped coming in, the lunchtime rush filling the void where his presence used to be. "What's eating you, kid?" Clara's voice pierced through her reverie. The older woman leaned against the counter, wiping her hands on her apron. "You're daydreaming more than usual." Lily forced a smile, stirring the coffee pot. "Just tired, I guess." Clara raised an eyebrow, her eyes narrowing with maternal concern. "You got a thing for that CEO, huh?" "He's a nice one, if I remember right." "I don't know what you mean," Lily replied, her heart quickening at the mention of Ethan. She couldn't let Clara, or anyone, know how much she missed him. The truth was, ever since that night, she'd replayed their conversations in her mind over and over. Ethan had offered her an opportunity that could change everything. But the thought of accepting his help gnawed at her, a constant reminder of how fragile her pride felt. She was determined not to become a charity case. She didn't want pity or handouts. "Hey, heed my advice," Clara said, her voice softening. "Sometimes, reaching out takes more strength than standing still. Don't let fear keep you from a good thing." "Maybe," Lily sighed, her heart heavy. "What if I reach out, and I'm just not what he thought?" Clara just smiled knowingly and left her to her thoughts. After the diner closed for the night, Lily remained, washing dishes, wiping down counters. She glanced at the clock. It was nearly midnight. And then, as if the universe was conspiring to guide her, her phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Lily, it's Ethan. I've been meaning to reach out. Can we talk?" Her breath hitched. Words swirled in her mind, everything she wanted to say blurring with the reality of the moment. "Why now?" Taking a deep breath, Lily typed back with shaking fingers. "What do you want to talk about?" The response came swiftly. "Meet me at the old coffee shop on 5th. I think we need to clear the air." She had a choice to make: to face him, to pull back the layers of her heart, or to cower behind the walls she had built for so long. The thought flickered in her mind. What if he had come to regret the connection they shared? What if he had moved on? Yet another part of her whispered that this could be an opening. Pressing her lips together in resolve, she made her decision. Lily looked towards the window, the night sky shimmering with possibilities. She had to confront her fears and her pride. Taking one last glance at her reflection, she steeled herself. Maybe this was the moment she had been waiting for, the moment where everything shifted. Would she be brave enough to embrace whatever lay ahead? As she walked out into the chilly night, heart racing, she felt that familiar jolt of hope igniting within her. What awaited her at that coffee shop? They were standing on the edge of something big, and she could feel it in her bones. But first, would she really be able to overcome her doubts and let Ethan back in? The coffee shop was a cozy haven, an escape from the cold that wrapped around Lily like a dense fog. Neon signs flickered in the window, casting warm glows on the sidewalk. The bell tinkled softly as she pushed the door open, revealing the familiar scent of roasted beans and the welcoming warmth of dim light. Heart in her throat, she scanned the room. Beside a small table, Ethan sat with a cup in his hand, his brow furrowed in thought. He looked up as she entered, and for a moment, the world outside faded away. The lines of tension around his eyes eased slightly, replaced by an expression that felt both wistful and hopeful. "Lily," he said, setting his cup down. "Thanks for coming." She approached with cautious steps, every nerve in her body buzzing with anticipation. "I didn't know what to expect," she replied, her voice steady even as her heart raced. "Why now?" Ethan sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I've been working a lot, and I know I didn't handle things right when we last saw each other. I thought about you. A lot." She swallowed hard, emotions swirling like autumn leaves in a storm. "You think about me? What does that even mean?" "I regret not being there for you. I didn't express it well, but I want to help you, Lily. You have talent, and you deserve more than what you might think of yourself." His sincerity washed over her, warm like the coffee that brewed nearby. But the shadows of doubt crept back in. "You don't understand. I don't want your pity. I can take care of myself." "Is that why you're working yourself to the bone?" Ethan asked gently. Because you can. Or is it because you think accepting help makes you weak? She recoiled slightly at his words, but deep down, a quiet truth resonated. Was it really so terrible to ask for help? Social norms had taught her independence, but had they also locked her in a cage? I just don't want to feel like a burden, she said, a hint of vulnerability creeping into her tone. Ethan leaned forward, his eyes searching hers with earnest determination. You could never be a burden. I want to invest in you, not just financially. I want to partner with you. Collaborate on something that has meaning. Hope fluttered tentatively but fiercely within her. What do you mean? I see potential in you. You've got a voice that deserves to be heard, he replied, exuding genuine warmth. Let us create something together, a project, a venture, anything that brings value to your journey. Lily felt herself leaning forward. The air between them thickened with possibility. And what's in it for you? Ethan smiled softly, a true smile that reached his eyes. Maybe just the chance to know you better. To help you realize your dreams. You're not just some charity case, Lily. You matter more than you realize. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes, stirring emotions she had buried deep. Maybe, just maybe, it was time to break down the walls she had built. The walls that held her back from experiencing genuine connection, from allowing feelings to grow. As they talked, laughter blossomed between them, filling the empty space with warmth. Each word spun threads of connection, weaving friendship with the potential for something more. But as the sun dipped lower outside, and shadows grew, doubts lingered. Was she ready? What if she opened up and ended up getting hurt again? Then something inside her cracked like a shell, a tender will to try. Ethan, she said, breathless. I want to explore this idea, whatever it is, but I need you to promise me one thing. She paused, heart racing at what she was about to say. Would he really be willing to hear her out? Stay. Just, stay. Ethan's expression shifted to one of profound understanding. I promise. A glimmer of hope danced in the air, swirling with uncertainty, but the question hung there too, would she allow herself to trust again? Would Ethan truly be the person who could change everything? The coffee shop buzzed softly, a background hum to the whirlwind of thoughts swirling in Lily's mind. She looked at Ethan, his unwavering gaze pouring warmth into her guarded heart. Was this really happening? Could she trust him? Okay, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Let us do it. Ethan's smile widened, and for a moment, all the doubts evaporated. Great. We'll brainstorm some ideas, see what inspires you. Lily felt a flutter of anticipation as she began to imagine the possibilities. She had always dreamed of creating something meaningful, something that resonated with others. But those dreams had felt distant, suffocated under the weight of her own fears. Now, sitting across from Ethan, those dreams surged back to life. What do you think we should start with? How about your story? Ethan suggested, his tone encouraging. Your experience, your journey. You've got a unique voice. Let us capture that. Lily hesitated, uncertainty knotting in her stomach. My story? It's not that interesting. That's where you're wrong, he replied, leaning in closer. Everyone's story is interesting if told the right way. Yours is filled with strength and resilience. You just need to believe in it. She could feel the weight of those words. Was she strong? Had she really overcome anything worth sharing? You really think that? Absolutely, he insisted, his eyes burning with conviction. You fought battles I can only imagine. And that makes you relatable. That's what connects us. As Ethan spoke, hope threaded through her, weaving around the doubts that had long kept her from believing in herself. Every word he spoke felt like a lifeline, pulling her closer to the surface. I want to try, she whispered, the words escaping before she could stop them. But where do we even begin? Let us start with you writing it down. Your thoughts, your feelings, whatever flows out, Ethan encouraged. No pressure. It can be rough, just let it come. Lily felt a mix of fear and excitement. A part of her wanted to run, to hide behind the walls she had carefully constructed. But another part, a bolder part, urged her forward. Okay, she said, determination rising within her. I'll do it. That's the spirit. Ethan's eyes sparkled with pride. We'll meet again, and I'll help you every step of the way. You'll see, this will be amazing. As their conversation continued, the shadows outside deepened, casting a cozy dimness within the shop. The world moved on, but for Lily, time stood still. There was something electric buzzing in the air, a promise, a burgeoning connection they were nurturing together. Yet a small voice within her still whispered concerns. Was she really ready for this? Was this a risk worth taking? I'm scared, Ethan, she admitted, the vulnerability spilling out even as her heart raced. What if I can't do it? He reached across the table, his hand covering hers, grounding her. Fear is natural, Lily. It won't vanish overnight. But I'll be right here, cheering you on, reminding you of how capable you truly are. The warmth of his touch sent shivers through her, comforting but so utterly new. She felt seen, valued, like she hadn't in a long time. As they parted, the promise of sharing her story hung in the air like a suspended moment of joy. But doubt loomed still, casting shadows over her heart like a cloud. What if she faltered? What if she failed? And yet, beneath those layers of fear, an ember of determination sparked that as she stepped out into the crisp evening air, the uncertainty of it all loomed just as large as the hope. Determined to embrace the journey ahead, she took a deep breath. But as she walked away, her heart raced with another thought: what awaited her on this path? And could she really open herself up not just to Ethan, but to all the possibilities that life had to offer? The thrill of the unknown pressed against her, heavy and exhilarating. Would she have the courage to dive deeper? The morning sun filtered through Lily's bedroom window, casting warm stripes across the floor. She lay awake, her heart still buzzing with the conversation from the coffee shop. Ethan's words echoed in her mind: you just need to believe in it. Belief. It felt like a heavy blanket smothering her, yet she longed to pull it off and feel the light on her skin. With a deep breath, she threw the covers off and sat up. Today was not the day for self-doubt. It was the day she would put thoughts to paper and start writing her story. With determination fueling her, she made her way to the small desk in the corner of her room, her own little nook where she often escaped from reality. The notepad lay waiting for her, blank and inviting. Lily found a pen, hesitating as she stared at the empty page, her heart thumping wildly. Just let it come, she whispered to herself, repeating Ethan's encouraging words like a mantra. She took another breath and began to write. Her first words were shaky and awkward, almost as if they feared the page. This is my story. On the third line, she paused, biting on her lip, feeling the pressure of expectations weigh on her. Was anyone truly interested in her story? The question shadowed her, but she brushed it aside. She wrote about her childhood, messy and full of dreams that felt out of reach. Each memory carves deeper lines into her heart, but also surfaced the resilience she had built day by day. With every word, the doubts retreated just a little more. She felt alive again as she poured herself onto the page, uncovering pieces she had buried for so long. Hours slipped away unnoticed as she lost herself in her writing. The more she wrote, the more clarity she found, not just about her past, but about who she was and who she wanted to be. She ended her first tumultuous session with an overwhelming wave of relief. It was just a beginning, but it felt like a victory. Lily stepped back from her desk, a smile creeping onto her face. She could do this. She could share her truth. The thrill twisted in her stomach, swelled into an intoxicating combination of courage and fear, but then, a familiar voice intruded, dark and suffocating. What if this wasn't good enough? What if people laughed at her? What if Ethan realized he'd made a mistake? The questions tugged at her heart, threatening to pull her back into the shadows. Just as she felt the familiar grip of anxiety encasing her again, a text pinged on her phone. Ethan. She hesitated, then opened it. Hey. How did it go? Ready for our next coffee date? A rush of warmth flooded through her. She could practically feel his excitement jumping off the screen. She typed back quickly, her thumbs flying. I wrote. It felt good. Let us meet up. With a quick tap, she sent the message, feeling her heart soar. But then, something struck her, a sense of urgency. Should she reveal what she'd written? What if it wasn't he enough? As her mind raced with possibilities, she paced around her room, her excitement morphing back into a flicker of fear. She wanted to share everything with him, yet there was a nagging fear that he wouldn't understand the depth of what she'd uncovered. The clock on the wall ticked steadily, reminding her that time was moving on. She needed to decide if she would keep her walls intact or let someone in. Would she dare to open her heart and bare her soul to Ethan? And what if, in doing so, everything changed both for her and for him? With those questions swirling within her, Lily clutched the notepad tightly, feeling a blend of anticipation and dread wash over her. She was standing on the brink of something, and only time would tell if she would take the leap. The coffee shop was bustling when Lily arrived, the familiar smell of roasted beans wrapping around her like a cozy blanket. Her heart raced as she entered, her eyes searching for Ethan. There he was, sitting at a corner table, a book open in front of him. His head snapped up, and their eyes connected. Hey! He grinned, and the warmth of his smile washed over her. I was hoping you'd make it. Lily felt her nerves pulsating, uncertain if today was about caffeine or courage. Thanks for waiting, she said, sliding into the chair across from him. How's the writing going? He asked, leaning in, genuine curiosity etched on his face. That simple question sent a flutter of anxiety through her. She fiddled with her notepad, tracing her fingers along the edges. It's a work in progress, she replied, her voice wavering slightly. He nodded, taking a sip of his coffee, and she could see the encouragement in his eyes. You said it felt good. That essay start, right? Yeah, I guess so. She hesitated. The swirling thoughts in her mind multitasked with her heartbeat. It was a symphony of nerves and hope. I don't know how to share it. Ethan's brows furrowed slightly, and she could tell he was trying to understand her struggle. What do you mean? What if it's not good enough? The words escaped her lips before she could think twice. What if I open up, and it's just a disappointment? He leaned back, studying her. His expression softened. Lily, your story is yours. People connect with authenticity. They see your heart in it. Don't you want to share that? His words sank in deep, nudging her courage. Yet, fear lingered, wrapping around her like a vine that refused to let go. I guess. It's just hard. He reached across the table, his hand covering hers. Then take it one step at a time. You don't have to share everything all at once. Start with the parts that feel easiest. She was silent, contemplating the weight of his suggestion. Could she really do that? Ethan's phone buzzed, breaking her train of thought. He glanced down, his expression changing slightly. I should have checked. My sister needs me to pick something up for her, he said, sounding slightly apologetic. But I'm all yours for a few more minutes. What do you say? What's been easy? A rush of ideas flooded her mind. The funny stories from her childhood, the moments of joy amidst the struggles. They felt lighter. They felt safe. Maybe I could start with some childhood stories, she said slowly. The funny ones. Perfect. Those are the ones that connect, he encouraged, his excitement palpable. Share those, and the rest will come. You'll see. She smiled, warmth bubbling inside her. Okay. I'll try. And just like that, the mental fog began to lift, replaced with a flicker of hope vibrant enough to push back the shadows. As the conversation flowed, they shared laughter over her childhood mishaps and the silly things that had made her feel alive. Each story felt like a little victory, a step toward the person she wanted to become. But just as Lily began to relax, the nagging voice in the back of her mind whispered again, was this truly what she wanted? Was she bold enough to go deeper into her vulnerabilities? When she caught Ethan's eye, something flickered there, a mix of admiration and understanding that sent her heart racing. She wanted to tell him about the tough parts and the pain she'd kept hidden. But would he still look at her like that if he knew everything? As they finished up, the question hung heavily between them. Lily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her choice. Could she take the plunge and share her story fully? In that moment, she realized the true leap was not just about writing. It was about opening her heart, trusting again. She had the courage to create her narrative. But could she have the bravery to share it? Lily caught Ethan's eye again, her thoughts racing. And as their conversation dwindled, she knew that the next step loomed just ahead. Would she reveal the truth that awaited her on the horizon? Lily's heart raced as she watched Ethan get distracted by his buzzing phone. The moment felt split, as though she was teetering on the edge of a cliff, about to jump into the unknown. He was her safety net, and yet she craved something deeper, something more than a simple cup of coffee and friendly banter. So, he said, the phone slipped back into his pocket, what else? What else makes you laugh? There it was again, that warm encouragement in his voice. It stirred something inside her, a restless desire to share. But as she opened her mouth to speak, doubt filled her mind like a thick fog. It was one thing to laugh about the past. It was another to dive into memories that brought her pain, memories that could unravel the very fabric of who she was. Well, she began, words escaping her as she fished through thoughts. There's the time I got my hand stuck in a cookie jar. Classic. He chuckled, leaning forward. Tell me more. Lily found herself smiling. She played it up, recalling how her parents laughed so hard they nearly cried as they freed her, covered in cookie crumbs. The laughter felt good, alleviating the tightness in her chest. See? That's the magic of sharing, he said after she finished, his eyes bright and animated. People connect through laughter, through those moments. But what about the moments that weren't funny? The moments that were laced with anger and sadness? The ones that made her who she was but also terrified her to her core. I did have a tough time, sometimes, she admitted, feeling brave for just saying it. Things weren't always like this. Ethan's gaze shifted, the playful tone in his voice replaced with something more serious. You don't have to share everything all at once, Lily. Take your time. Just know, whatever you're holding back doesn't define you. She narrowed her eyes, trying to read his expression. How can you be so sure? Because I see you, he replied quietly, his words wrapping around her heart like a soft embrace. I see the way you want to express yourself, the heart that's pushing to break free. Everyone has shadows, Lily. It's what you do with them that matters. She felt a rush of warmth in her cheeks, his affirmation like a lifeline, pulling her away from the depths of her doubt. What if she hesitated, feeling the weight of possibility hang heavily in the air? What if I try to write one of those harder stories? Ethan smiled, a glimmer of pride in his eyes. Then I'd say you're already braver than you think. Just remember to be gentle with yourself. Could she do it? The idea tugged at her, both thrilling and terrifying. Sharing a story of hurt was risky. But sharing it with Ethan, trusting him to understand, felt like standing under the sun after a long winter. Lily looked down, tracing patterns on the table as if the wood could tell her what to say next. Chaos lurked just below her surface, and she wanted to let it out, let someone see her, all of her. Can you be there when I do? She finally asked, soft but steady, his lips curled into a genuine smile. Always. As they exchanged glances, something shifted. It was more than friendship now, there was an unspoken promise building between them. But just as she felt that warmth, the possibility of connection, it was interrupted by the cafe door swinging open. A sudden rush of cold air swept in, and Lily turned to see a figure standing there, silhouetted against the bright sunlight. The moment shifted with that unexpected entry. Her name echoed in the air, pulling her back to the moment. Lily. Her heart dropped. It was someone she hadn't seen in years, someone from her past she thought she had escaped. An impending storm brewed, ready to shake the fragile ground she had just begun to stand on. How would this unexpected visitor change everything? And could she still find the strength to share her truth amidst the chaos? Lily's breath caught in her throat as she met the familiar yet dreaded eyes of the person standing in the doorway. It was Rachel, her childhood friend from a lifetime ago, but also a shadow from a past she had tried so hard to bury. Time hadn't faded her blooming red hair or the mischievous glint in her eyes. Yet, it had subtly etched lines of hardship across her face, lines that told stories of their own. Lily. Rachel called again, her voice slicing through the ambient noise of the cafe, eliciting glances from other patrons. Rachel, Lily managed, forcing a smile she didn't feel. What are you doing here? Ethan's presence suddenly felt like a distant shore behind her as every flicker of warmth evaporated. He shifted uncomfortably in his seat, a protective instinct flashing across his face. A part of her wanted to retreat into the comfort of his support, to cling to that promise they'd just made, but there was another part that was fiercely aware of the storm brewing in her chest. Rachel approached, her smile uncertain. I was in town and thought I'd stop by to see you. It's been so long. She hesitated, looking at Ethan as if he were a foreign object in their shared past. The two of you seem to be close. Yeah, we are sort of, Lily replied, her voice uneven. She needed to gauge Ethan's view on this sudden re-emergence. But when she glanced over, she found him staring intently at Rachel, suspicion flickering in his eyes. It unnerved her. Look, I know we haven't talked in a while, Rachel rushed on, but I really wanted to know how you've been. Last time I saw you things got pretty rough. The memory hit like a wave crashing against her. Nightmares buried deep within her mind swirled free. Yeah, well, we all have our pasts, Lily replied, an edge creeping into her tone. Rachel looked taken aback, shock mingled with hurt clear in her expression. Lily, wait. I just want to apologize. Things got out of hand back then, but I thought maybe what? Lily interrupted, her heart pounding. You could just come back and fix everything with an apology. Ethan shifted in his seat, his discomfort palpable. It was like standing on a shaky tightrope between two worlds, the safety of her new beginning and the darkness of what had once been. But instead of backing away, Lily felt a surge of adrenaline rush through her veins. It was time to stand her ground. I've worked hard to leave that girl behind, Lily said, voice steady and firm. You don't get to waltz back into my life after all this time and expect everything to be okay. Lily, Rachel opened her mouth to respond, but Lily raised a hand to stop her, taking a small step back as her heart raced. I've changed, she said quietly, but with conviction. I'm not that girl who needed rescuing anymore. She paused, searching for the right words, her eyes darting to Ethan, whose expression remained unreadable. I'm ready to write my own story now. One that's mine. The silence in the cafe felt heavy, stretched like a taut wire about to snap. Ethan's support pulsed at her side even without words. But just as the discomfort thickened, Rachel's face softened, and a glimmer of understanding lit her eyes. I can see that you're doing well, and I'm really glad. Honestly, I am. Maybe we can start anew. The thought hung in the air, fluttering like a fragile bird exposed to a sudden gust of wind. Could she welcome Rachel back into her life when the past loomed so large? And could she maintain her resolve to share her truth with Ethan while pulling Rachel into her orbit again? Before she could ponder her next move, the cafe door swung open again, this time with a man entering, a stranger holding a bouquet of sunflowers. Oh no, not again, she thought, anxiety flooding back. Change felt imminent, like a storm gathering strength. Who is that? She whispered, catching Ethan's gaze as her heart raced once more. What confessions awaited in the warmth of those petals? And could Lily hold on to her hard-won strength while confronting yet another connection from her past? Lily's breath hitched again, this time at the sight of the man advancing toward them. He had an air of mystery about him, both intriguing and alarming. The bouquet of sunflowers cradled in his arms almost seemed to radiate warmth, yet at that moment, it felt like an omen. "Who are you?" Lily mumbled, her voice barely above a whisper as she felt Ethan's hand slide gently over hers. It was a reassuring gesture, but also a reminder of how unsettled she was becoming. "Hi, I'm Noah," the man replied, his smile bright and inviting. "I've been looking for you, Lily." "Looking for me? Why?" Her tone held the edge of uncertainty, mingling with the weight of Rachel's presence. This day was becoming more chaotic than she'd ever anticipated. "Just wanted to talk," Noah said simply, glancing at Ethan, then back to Lily. "I heard you were back in town and thought you might like some flowers." They were all watching him now, curiosity crackling in the air. Lily's heart pounded. Sunflowers in October were unusual, but they always brought an instant cheer. She wished she could feel that cheer right now. Every glance flitted between Ethan and Rachel, leaving her feeling dizzy. "This is all very strange," Rachel said, eyebrows raised. "Are you an acquaintance of Lily's?" A cloud of tension loomed. Lily's past seemed like a tangled web, each knot drawing her back into memories she had tried to sever. But Noah looked genuinely innocent, like he had no idea what he was stepping into. "Sort of," Noah admitted. "More like a friend of a friend. I knew you through some mutual connections." He turned back to Lily, his expression softening. "I heard what you've been working on. It's impressive. What do you know about that?" Lily asked, the defensiveness creeping back. "I haven't really shared much with anyone. I've been following your journey, Lily. You're doing brave things," he continued, and for a fleeting moment, she felt the rising tides of pride within her. "I wanted to encourage you. Maybe even partner up on a community project or two." Lily felt herself harden at the word partner, though Noah's genuine enthusiasm was hard to miss. "We should talk about this outside," she said, her tone sharper than she intended. It's not the best moment." She was already feeling overwhelmed, and adding layers to this chaotic reunion wasn't the route she wanted to take. Ethan's grip tightened around her hand, and she could sense his unease. "We should go." He stood up, his presence a reassuring wall in a storm she didn't know how to navigate. Rachel shifted uncomfortably, disliking being pushed aside. "But Lily cut her off. "I need some air. All of this, it's a lot." With that, she strode toward the cafe exit, pulling Ethan gently along. Behind them, Rachel's voice trailed off, caught in the strange wind swirling around their tangled emotions. Stepping outside felt like emerging from underwater. The sun washed over her, offering a moment of clarity. She inhaled deeply, feeling a mixture of anxiety and relief, as if she had been momentarily freed. "Do you know him?" Ethan asked, concern evident in his dark eyes searching hers. "No, not really," she replied, a hint of confusion threading through her response. "But he said he wanted to talk about projects to help communities." "It feels too soon, doesn't it?" "Everything feels too soon," Ethan agreed, brows knitted as if he was weighing his thoughts. "But you handled Rachel. That was strong." "It didn't feel strong," Lily admitted, allowing herself a small sigh. "I just want to keep moving forward. I don't want to be dragged back." "Then don't let yourself be. You're not that girl anymore." Ethan's assurance melted some of her tension, igniting a tiny flicker of hope in her heart, but just as that hope began to build, a familiar face turned the corner up ahead. It was her mother, her face marred by worry, and behind her, a figure from a distant memory. "Lily." Her mother called, and Lily's heart dropped. What more could the past possibly throw at her today? And could she truly keep moving forward when the shadows kept chasing her? Lily's heart raced as she took a hesitant step back. Her mother stood there, more frail yet determined, while another figure lingered behind her, an uninvited blast from her past. It felt like a collision of two worlds, the life she fought to build and the one she tried so hard to escape. Lily. Her mother called again, relief flooding her voice. We need to talk. Ethan stood beside her, protective. Do you want to handle this? He asked, his voice low and firm. She swallowed hard, battling the weight of emotions crashing over her. Facing her mother now felt like trying to stand against a raging tide. I think so, she said, determination piercing through the cloud of doubt. Her mother stepped forward, worry etched in her features. I came back to find you. Things are changing, things are always changing, Lily interrupted, feeling the familiar anger bubbling to the surface. You left. You came back to what? Apologize? To take me back into the chaos? Lily, that's not fair, her mother said softly, but Lily felt her resolve harden around her heart. I've made mistakes. I know that. But I want to explain. No, Lily shook her head, holding up a hand. I'm building a life here. You don't just get to drop in and expect everything to be okay. Behind her, Ethan moved closer, grounding her, reminding her she wasn't alone. The warmth of his presence enveloped her as she stood at the edge of a raging storm. Please try to understand, her mother pleaded, eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I tried to reach out, I just didn't try hard enough, Lily shot back. What do you want from me? At that moment, the stranger who had been lingering behind her mother stepped forward. It was a man with kind eyes, a familiar warmth that felt unsettlingly comfortable. I'm Adam, he said. I know this is unexpected, but I'm someone who cares about your mother. She's working hard to turn things around. Lily could only stare at him, bewildered. What does that even mean? Your mother has changed, Adam said gently. She's been seeking help and trying to make amends. She needs you. Lily felt the weight of the words smashing against her struggles, trust, fear, hope, and the overwhelming desire to protect the life she had finally started to build outside of it all. Lily, Ethan's voice broke through her swirling thoughts. You have the power to decide. Just like you faced Rachel and those hard truths at the cafe, this isn't just about them. It's about you too. Tears threatened in Lily's eyes, a whirlwind of emotions battling for dominance. Could she find a way to forgive them for the past? Or would it always be anchored deep in her heart like an unyielding chain? I can't be someone's project, she replied finally, her voice trembling. I want to be. I'm not that girl looking for rescue. No one's asking you to be, her mother said, desperation creeping into her tone. But I want the chance to be a part of your life, to try and make it right. Silence enveloped the three of them as the world around them faded into the background. Lily felt the tension shift, the air heavy with all that lay unspoken. Ethan squeezed her hand, urging her to stand firm. You're stronger than any of them, Lily. Just like you've been finding your voice in your writing, he encouraged. You can choose. It's your story. Taking a deep breath, Lily considered her choices. Leaving them behind would mean carrying that weight forever. But letting them in could stir up memories best left untouched. Maybe, just maybe, she started, each word a step toward healing. We could try to talk. But on my terms. Lily could see her mother's face soften, rays of hope breaking through her worries. I'm willing to try, Lily, her mother said, voice low but sincere. To face what we've avoided. I know it's not enough, but I want to build something with you. She saw the flicker of conviction in Ethan's eyes, his steady support a wall against the past that threatened to break down her walls. Okay, Lily finally said, her voice firm. We'll talk. The journey ahead would be complex and fraught with uncertainty. But for the first time, there was a crack in the wall of her heart, light seeping in where only shadows had once existed. The rush of hope filled her. She had the power to define her story, to connect the broken pieces. Let us start fresh, she said, her determination blossoming. But remember, this won't be easy for any of us. As they turned toward the cafe, facing the crowd bustling with life and laughter inside, Lily felt the ground beneath stabilizing. She could finally begin to carve her narrative, one word and one moment at a time. That moment, surrounded by waiting possibilities, she knew she was ready to take on whatever lay ahead, and in the back of her mind, a small voice whispered it was time to truly open her heart. This was only the beginning of a story filled with love, healing, and a transformation she hadn't thought possible. Now is your chance, dear friends. You need to subscribe now to the channel to catch these exclusive stories. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support and hit that like button. Share your reactions and feelings about this ending in the comments below, and don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Your involvement means everything. Let's keep building this community together.